We are back for 2021.
Yay!
This is Gil from Gil and Renee's Rich Relationship Podcast with Gil and Renee, and we are excited to be back. This is the first recording that we're actually going to be doing this first 2021, season 4.
And we're doing it in our RV at Country Hill Park, and the view is absolutely breathtaking.
We'll tell you a little bit more about that, but we're actually excited to be back. We're happy to be back.
And we've missed y'all.
And then you know what's so funny? We were just going at it as far as the conversation, and I guess what, y'all?
He didn't push record, y'all, so no episode.
So we are doing, this is take 2, so we started all over again, but that's okay, because when you've been away for a little while, it's time to come back, and we're back, y'all, for this episode. Back. So we'll talk to you here in a minute.
Welcome to the Rich Relationship Podcast with Gil
and Renee, where amazing things happen. Our goal is to help build, repair, and restore healthy relationships.
Our primary focus is on the marriage relationship. However, the topics are applicable to the relationships that we value most. Remember, we're stronger together.
Let's grow!
So as I mentioned, I forgot to hit record at the very beginning of this episode, but
that's really funny.
That was happens when you've been away for a little while. We took the vacation and the holidays, and everybody got to relax a little bit. We hope you got a chance to relax with your loved ones and everyone you care about for the holidays.
And reevaluate some things.
And which led to what Renee kind of mentioned at the very beginning was the RV that we purchased. You can actually take a look at that. We've been sharing some of the videos and things like that on the website, the Rich Relationship us.com website. You can check out something that we are just starting at another side project to this, because one of the things that we realize in the time and the season that we are in now, this is the time to do things that you may want to do. You know, we are actually talking about that when it comes to dreams and goals and decisions and things like that.
And you need trust, and you need honesty.
And that's what we're going to be actually talking a little bit about. We're going to do a little hodgepodge, a little bit of this, a little bit of that when it comes to this episode. So we're going to talk a little bit now about the dream that we actually got to fulfill. And it started with the purchase of the RV. And I'll give a brief summary. Renee, this is something we have been wanting to do for a long time. I started this out when I was a kid.
11. I
took an RV trip, and it was something that I had dreamed about doing for a long time. And I said, you know what? Someday. And that was over 30 years ago.
And the first time he mentioned RVing to me, my only frame of reference was trailer park. And so my response to him was, heck no.
It's heck no, but over time, it's not like what you may see on some of the old things as far as RVs go and things like these are like little houses on wheels.
They are.
And it was funny. It took some convincing, y'all, to get my wife.
No, you had to educate me.
You're right. She had been watching me off to the side. You can have a dream to do something, and you may want to do some research and looking into it. It may be just an interest or a hobby, like it started out with me. And I was just on the side, just glancing at videos and following people who RV and,
Trish and Mark.
Yeah.
And the Winds.
Different couples out there who are doing things and just fantasize and just dream about it. It's like, man, that would be just cool to do. Not because of, I'm not saying we're going the whole full style lifestyle yet, but this is something that just to get involved and get started with. And so once we got started.
Be careful what you say when you say stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true. And especially when you have these dreams and you're kind of pursuing them and not really realize you're pursuing them.
Yeah.
When you're doing research and investigating and thinking and meditating and maybe saving like we had to do.
And pushing back on some things and downsizing
and delays
and reprioritizing, you begin to realize that if this can give you everything that you want, why not pursue that versus dreaming about it and only existing
and never doing it, unfortunately, especially in the time and the season that we are in right now with the whole pandemic that is going on, that everyone is experiencing, and unfortunately has impacted some people more than others. Our heart goes out to all those who have experienced a loss, whether it's through
a loss
career,
of a person,
especially the person first,
yes,
and careers and dreams and all those things. One of the things that kind of motivated us to do something now was the opportunity came up, but then we'll share that on how all those opportunities came for us to get this. But you can delay something for so long that you may never get to do it, unfortunately, if something like a pandemic happened, so if you have dreams that you wanted to pursue or things that you wanted to do, you may want to start being a little bit more aggressive and move towards those things. Yeah, because it may not happen if you delay too long. And thankfully we were able to do something. So we just been experiencing little trips here and there. And if you can check out those videos, you can see some of the things we've been doing already.
And it's so much fun. And I think a part of it is that's the beauty of what relationships are supposed to do. They're designed to help you see life through another person's lens. Mm-hmm. And I think that the reason why I talked about why trust and honesty were so important in a relationship is because these were dreams that were your dreams. They weren't necessarily my dreams.
Right.
But because I tried to provide a safe place for you to share your dreams and not make fun of them or belittle them or try to make your dreams my dreams, I was exposed to something I would have never in a million years imagined that I would love as much as I do. Because, every trip, guys, he's like, so how do you like the kitchen? I'm like, I love it. Today I baked cookies, so I'm in. I'm good.
And one of the points that we wanted to make, and we always want to bring some value to some of the things we always talk about on our episodes, and that's what we're talking about today, about decisions. And one of the points that you made while we were just having this conversation kind of offline as we prepared for the episode was when you make joint decisions. And you made one point just now that sometimes your dreams and your goals and your aspirations may not necessarily be your partners in the beginning. A lot of times that's where the compromise and the together and the oneness comes, because things that Renee was not thinking about when it comes to just like this lifestyle, I just share with her the things that I was learning and what I was looking at. And in the background, maybe she started thinking about it like, maybe that piqued her interest, and then she kind of jumped in with, if you could say, stick one toe in the water and seeing what it was all about. And I thank God because my wife is, let's just do it. She's just an all-in person. Once she actually makes that decision that she's in, she's jumping in. I'm a researcher. I'm a stick my foot in little at a time.
He's later and I'm now.
Yeah, we talked about that in the episode, but I'm going to take my time and do research because you always want to make good decisions.
Yes.
But sometimes as they say, paralysis analysis, I can just
talk yourself out of things.
Yeah, you can talk yourself out of things and not do something when it's something that you may even really want to do. And sometimes your spouse can come along and say, you know what? She pushed me in, y'all.
Yeah, I did. I pushed him in because I said, you know what? I know my husband. Opportunity has to meet preparation. We have planned, we have thought, we have prayed, we have waited, and now it is time for us to do something. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to sell my car today. I'm going to sell my car today.
Right. So she was the one that actually took action. And one of the things that we learned through this process.
First, I found out what was his objective. So what will we need to do in order to take action on this, babe?
Right. And because of all the research and investigating, I told her these are the steps that we need to do. And my wife just goes and executes. I thank God for that, because when she makes that decision, it just happens. She has crazy favor, and we'll kind of share how all this came about, because it was nothing but God who orchestrated all this. And I told my wife, I'll put it this way, y'all. I said, I used up all of your favor on this.
For that day, because his mercies are new every day. I got a whole bunch of favor for today, too.
Absolutely. So just that point in when you're making those decisions, it's a joint decision that sometimes your partner and your spouse going to come alongside of you and say, you know what, it's not mine, but it's yours. And that makes it just as important to them. Yeah,
because the Bible says hope deferred makes the heart sick. And one of the things that I can say that the pandemic has taught me is that if you can do something to make someone that you love make their life better, why wouldn't you do that?
Right.
I think about how many dreams that I have had that you have catapulted and you have supported and you have financed. And so to me, like, why would I not want to do something to help make one of your dreams that you've had for so long come true? It brings me joy just to see you smile and hear you say, I'm so excited.
Right.
Because if you guys don't know, Gil does not get excited. That is just not his personality. But to the degree that he can be excited, he is excited.
I'm excited suppressed. So I'm working on that.
Yeah. Yes.
So I'm working on that. But this is something that we wanted to talk about also is and I'll let you start out with answering this question because I asked it you already and maybe you thought about it. What happens when your spouse doesn't necessarily agree with the decision or the dream that you want to make?
Well, I think, again, like we talked about, hope deferred. I think that sometimes dreams, unlike goals, need time.
Mm-hmm.
I think a goal is something that you both set together that you can achieve. A dream is something that's in your heart that may need to be nurtured.
Right.
There may need to be time. There may need to be more education. So I think that it doesn't mean that it's no. I think it just means that the other person doesn't have enough information about this dream to really make it come to pass. So I think that it's something you have to be patient with, because I think a dream, if it's in your heart, one of the things that I love, the Bible says that God will give you the desires of, if you delight yourself in him, he will give you the desires of your heart. And what that means to me, it doesn't mean that God is going to give me everything that I want.
Right.
It means that he's going to make my desires what he wants. Mm-hmm. And so I think that in a relationship, God does that in your marriage. He makes what your spouse wants. He makes you want it as well. And to me, that's that oneness. That's when you begin to be on one accord. And so I think that those things like that, it takes time. You shouldn't be in a rush for it.
Right. And one of the things that you mentioned earlier too was that conditions will change.
Yes.
Sometimes it may not be the timing has to be important for those dreams and those goals to come to pass. And conditions of life may have dictated that you have to delay it. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you will make those sacrifices to delay something that you may want for someone else, like you mentioned that I've done in the past.
That's been your whole life.
Well, I just think it's important that the people that you care about and the people that are important in your life, they have to come first. They come before.
At some point, you have to come first.
Yeah, you do.
You need your time.
I think the times that we've had in the past where I always said it, and this is something that we've practiced in our marriage and in our life, I'm going to always put you ahead of me. And you're going to always put me ahead of you. And whether that's coming in service and everything when it comes to life, that means you always have someone looking out for you.
Right.
And I have someone looking out for me, which is your spouse. So even with that, I know if I delay to do something that I may wanted to do or put on pause, so to speak, I know it's going to happen.
Your turn will come eventually.
Yeah, it will. It will.
And I think that we need to remember is that this is the way it's supposed to work.
Right.
This is the way it works when two people are selfless and thinking about the kingdom and the other person, because marriage is not for the selfish. Marriage is for the selfless. Marriage is designed to teach you to put God and the other person first. And so we're talking about in the ideal situation, the way God designed it. But most couples have the biggest issues because they want what they want.
When they want it.
When they want it at the expense of the other person. And so we do recognize that that is a real entity, but we are trying to model the way that it should be done. It should be, I put God and my spouse first, and then he puts me and God and me first. And then if you have children, of course, it's God, your marriage, your children. Mm-hmm. And so it's just a matter of learning to practice this order, because it makes your life so much more enjoyable. And it's not that we always agree on everything, because we don't. And like Gil said, when he first mentioned this to me, my response was, heck no.
Right. And so, but a part of that actually comes to pass when you're doing dreams and coming out and talking to your spouse about it, is this is something that you have to do. You have to share those dreams with your spouse. Mm-hmm. How are they supposed to get behind it and support it if they don't know it even exists? Even your goals, and not from a dictatorial standpoint where I just tell you this is what we're going to do.
Right.
I'm explaining to you this is my goal, this is my dream, this is my desire to do, and I bring that to you. I love how God says he brought you into my life as a helpmate.
Right.
And that means just like how this came to fruition was I brought my dream, my goal to you, and you helped me make it come to pass by the things that you did to make it happen. That is what was so great, and that's what I think means to live out the biblical standards and practices that we try to live our life by. And when you see it come out in real life action,
it's overwhelming.
It makes you go, wait a minute.
It's like, this is for real?
Yeah, and just like this whole thing, it made me start saying, this is too good to be true. I'm still like, wow.
One of Gil's other growth areas is not always seeing things from a positive perspective.
Yeah, I'm working on that. I had a moment of clarity, y'all. I had to just admit it to my wife the other day. I said, you know what? She called me a pessimist. I was like, hold up. I am not a pessimist. You know, and I just said it in casual conversation. Yeah, but it resonated with me and it stuck in my mind. And I said, no, I wasn't accepting that. But then I looked up the word, and then this is something that I have to say I can relay to all the listeners out there if you listen to this. If you don't do anything else, be honest with yourself.
Because we can lie to ourselves really good.
100%. And I had to own it. I said, you know what? I'm always looking not for gloom and doom, but I always think about what could happen, and it's usually going to end up on the negative side of things. And even when I thought about it, I was like, nah, that's too good to be true. This is going to happen. That's not going to happen. And when I said, you know what? Nope, I got to do something different. I had to stop, and I had to catch myself.
But you also admitted it.
Yeah. And when I had those things happen, or when we were even working through this whole process, I stopped and thought about it. And I said, nope, I'm not going to go down that same road I've been down for so many years, and talking myself out of things or looking for the gloom and doom in the situation, and just saying, you know what? Nope, I'm not going to go down that road. I'm just going to see what happens. And I'm going to thank God for the results regardless. And this came to pass, and that was more of a small victory for me. And this is a tangible, physical expression of the results of being obedient to that.
Yes.
That's what I believe.
Yeah. And being honest with yourself. I think that when God tells us things about ourselves through our spouses or through the Bible, he's not telling us something we don't know. And he's not telling us because he doesn't know it. He's telling us because we don't know it.
Right.
And so a part of this whole dreams and trust and honesty is that we have to be honest with ourselves about who we are, who we're not. Because so many times the things that God has for us are on the other side of us accepting who we are not. And once we can accept who we are not, then God can then begin to shape and mold us into who he's called us to be. And then it could be, we could be the person he needs us to be, not only for ourselves and for our family, but for the people in the world who are watching. We were at Target, and we were at the base, and this guy walked up to Gil and started talking to him about Richie, because we were parking him in a parking lot. And this guy just walked up, and just imagine if you would have talked yourself out of this.
Right.
You know, there's people who, you know, when the Bible says that the earth is groaning and waiting for the children of God to walk into their rightful place, there are people who see this and say, you know what, I've been thinking about doing that for so long. And so when we walk in our purpose and we are okay to be who we are, we give other people the freedom to do that. And to me, that's what real victory, that's what real dreams being fulfilled is really all about.
Right. And part two to that as you share your dreams with your spouse, the other part that we wanted to talk to, your reaction is don't minimize them. Right. Don't trivialize them. Don't talk them out of it. Don't tell them what their dream really should be. Don't try to alter it or anything like that. Goodness. You don't want to be a dream crusher.
No.
You want to be a dream embracer. You want to be a dream encourager.
And if you don't understand their dream, do some research.
Talk to them about it.
Pray about it. Do not. One of the things we talk about the sandwich, one bad thing, two good things. But when it comes to someone's dreams, you have something negative to say, tell the Lord.
Keep it to yourself.
Pray about it. Because more than likely, when you have something negative to say about someone's dream, it's because you probably don't have your own dreams.
Right. And you want to always embrace and encourage and inspire. We always say it.
Love, inspire, and encourage. Do not tear down and belittle and make light of someone's dreams. Because when we don't embrace people's dreams, we position them to not be honest with us and to not trust us and not to communicate with us. And that's how relationships don't grow.
And we talked about that, and we're going to do an episode here coming up pretty soon about truth and trust. Even though we talked about it in last year, as far as about the tie. If you heard that episode, that was just one topic, but we're kind of approaching it from a different perspective that God showed us over the holidays about truth and trust. And that we're going to share that episode with you about it, because it just brought it up in my mind when you just mentioned that phrase, that how important that is when it comes to your relationships.
Yeah. Love, inspire, and encourage.
So, and then when it comes to the actual new journey and the new chapter we're actually going to be doing, you notice that we didn't take an intermission, because this is just a quick episode that we just want to give you guys an update on some of the things that we are doing and things that are to come in 2021. And so one of the things we talked about was, this is the first chapter of that. We're going to be talking about people, experiences, and places.
Pep. We're going to put some pep in your life. There's a pep in our life.
So what made you want to do it that way, as far as add another thing to do, even though we already have a list of things to do?
Well, this is just another way for us to reach people with doing video, because video is a very important part of
it is
just the whole being a part of the Rich Relationships. And so audio is great, and we love doing the podcast, but I think doing the video, which is amazing how we didn't plan on doing a podcast, and we did, and we didn't plan on writing books, and we did, and we didn't plan on having Richie and making the lifestyle a part of what we're doing, but we did. And so I have just left it open to, we're going to do whatever God tells us to do, however he tells us to do it, and reach as many people as we can by whichever means are necessary.
Right. And so that's something that has always been a side hobby of ours and myself, is taking pictures, and now we're just adding video to the new experience. So I know we've had people, for the videos that we put out, some of the feedback we got is people like watching and those things. We're in a visual society. We understand that. And so we're going to throw in our little contribution.
And we figure if you're going to be using social media, it should be inspiring you, encouraging you, educating you, and building you up. We want to add value to our community and to the world. And so we wanted to provide people with something positive, encouraging to watch and listen to, and books to read. And so that's our desire, is to fill the world with love and encouragement and rich relationships.
Because we're still going to always talk about the principles, just like we shared with you today, about, dreams fulfillment and making joint decisions and sharing your dreams with other people, or especially your spouse and significant others, and encouraging them
and being honest.
And being honest.
And building trust.
So we're going to still always talk about those relationships principles, but now we're just adding the video part to it.
Yeah. Well, in 2021, it's going to be another level of us being together. So we have our podcast, we have our books, and now we're going to have a weekly video, which is going to be called Tripping with Gil and Renee, from the Rich Relationships Big Road Trip.
So we're going to still talk about those principles, but we're just adding video now.
Yep. So check us out on Saturday mornings. By noon, our videos will be up every Saturday morning. You can see where we're at and what we're doing. And you never know, we might come and see you. Share with us some of the things that you do to help your relationship grow, as far as sharing your dreams with each other, and just some of the tips that you would like to share with us, because we want to hear from you this year. We want to know, what are you doing and how are you applying the things that we're sharing with you? And we just want to continue to grow, to build, repair, and restore healthy, rich relationships.
Because remember, we are stronger together.
Let's grow.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for your investment in time. Remember to subscribe to the show and hit the notification icon to be notified when new episodes are posted on the podcast platform that you're listening from.
Or you can always find us on our website at richrelationshipsus.com, or our YouTube channel, Rich Relationships with Gil and Renee. If you found this podcast helpful, or you think it could help someone that you know and care about, please pass it along and share it with them.
And also, you can always send your questions and comments to richrelationships.us@gmail.com. This is a weekly podcast, and the new episodes are going to be posted on Monday by 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Remember, we're stronger together.
Let's grow.